I just need to look at one map real quick, and then I'll be ready.
Oh my god.
You're involving maps in this?
I'm just about to list off some geography and not know where it is.
If you don't win this one, then like,
what are you doing?
mean, this is
Then everyone will know it's rigged against me. So I win. No matter what.
I don't think so. I don't know.
She might have a point.
I think I've only won once.
Yes.
You did when Anna was here and was actually keeping track of points, which is just so rude.
I want to contest that point tracking.
Well, can you? Did you keep track?
I mean, I guess I would have to go listen to it and keep track. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Not even the unemployed.
Wow. That's like what dedicated super fans are for. One day, hopefully, we have super fans who go back and they listen to each episode and they just tally up the points of each episode and they let us know.
Praying for those stalkers.
Not stalkers. You guys,
where my fear comes
from. You guys only think of two types of listeners in this podcast. You guys think of stalkers and parents, and that's it. That's the only two types of people.
And those that slip into Mara's DMs.
Okay, welcome to My Top Everything. I'm Marianne. I'm your host.
I'm Kara.
And I'm Mara.
We are three best friends who argue about everything. Today our topic is top 3 geological mysteries.
Did you want to go first, Kara? I think you should go first.
Yes, I do.
Start us off strong.
All right. What is it again? My number 3 geological mystery is Devil's Tower. So
Dude, this is my yes. Hell yeah. I was obsessed with this piece of rock when I was younger.
It's fascinating. Yeah. So for those at home that don't know, Devil's Tower is a kind of like tall, it's like an upside down cup in the middle of what is otherwise flat land in Wyoming.
But wait, it's not hollow.
Right. I'm just trying to describe the shape.
And also, it doesn't really look like a...
Well, how do you describe it? How do you describe Devil's Tower?
It's like a column rising from the earth.
That's a much better... That's a much better form. Yep, you're right. It's a column, a red column in the middle of what is otherwise flat land in Wyoming. And the area around it is sedimentary, and the oldest visible rock that we can see is from a shallow inland sea. So we know that there was at some point some sort of ocean or something at that point. But while the rock around it is sedimentary, meaning that rock was laid down over time from erosion and wind and that kind of thing, Devil's Tower is igneous rock, which means that it's from volcanic activity. And we don't know how it formed. We have 4 theories. One is that it's intrusion, which basically means that like magma came up from below, pushed its way up, and then cooled, and then as erosion happened, it basically exposed.
So it was like magma that came up into a bunch of soil and formed that
more
way?
or less. But it didn't peak over. It didn't peak out. So
right, it's like underground magma.
Yeah.
And so then the erosion took away everything else. But then why'd it form in that shape?
Yeah, have you described the shape yet?
I really wish I could like share the images, but
I pulled up the figures. So
you do have it. Okay, good. Yeah, so the first theory is called stock theory, and basically it means that like magma came up and then over time the sedimentary rock around it eroded, so it left that exposed. The second theory is called the laccolith theory, and that is where a large mushroom-shaped mass of igneous rock intrudes between layers of sedimentary rock, so it kind of like pushes shit around. And it also doesn't reach the surface, so they're pretty similar.
Well, then where did all that other rock go? With the mushroom theory, it looks like
it like pushed,
basically everything but the stem of the mushroom eroded somehow.
Everything but the stem.
Like if you look at the picture, it looks like the mushroom was bigger of igneous rock, and then it eroded to just leave a small part.
Yeah. It was this theory is popular in the early 1900s, but it's not anymore. So,
Okay.
I mean, igneous rock
when they were all just like hyping up on mushrooms and they didn't know what they were doing, and they were like, mushrooms are they're like the circle of the universe.
Yeah. it's the number 42, man.
it's the shape. It's the perfect shape.
Except
That's
it's super
how PCR testing was discovered. This guy got high on acid, and
Are you serious?
yeah,
For COVID?
I mean, it's used for a lot more than just COVID.
Yeah, totally. I knew that.
Right.
So he got high on acid and what?
And just discovered this revolutionary way of looking at DNA.
Fascinating.
Huh.
He wrote a book.
Cool.
He's a surfer in California. He's still alive.
Great.
Anyway.
Let's get him on. Let's get him on.
Guess number 2.
What's number 3 theory for this formation?
Oh, I like this one. It's sexy.
It does look kind of odd. So the third theory is basically it's called a volcanic plug, and basically what happened.
Yeah, the plug theory.
Yikes!
And it does look like that. Basically, it like was a volcano that then went extinct. Is basically what it is. So the neck of the volcano is like a tall, skinny, phallic looking.
It looks like a chimney almost, like, and the top of the chimney is like gone, but the fireplace is still there.
Yeah.
Okay. I had somebody ask me what something looked like today, and I blinked, and then I said out loud, for lack of a better word, it looks like a little sperm.
Oh my God.
Because it did. But
because I was right.
What were you describing?
An FIDGC jet. So
Oh,
Jet?
I would say it looks more like a torpedo than a sperm, but okay.
Oh, that's a good one. Like the tip of a
Is
torpedo.
it?
It's not bad. It wasn't the worst thing.
Oh my God.
So that's theory number 3, is that it was a volcano, a little tiny volcano that had a little neck, and then it stopped being a volcano eventually, and then it eroded around it. The 4th theory is called the Maar, MAAR, diatreme volcano. And these form when magma encounters groundwater underneath the Earth's surface, which I think this is the coolest one. And then the superheated water becomes steam, and the steam expands explosively, creating a crater on the surface. And then the crater fills with lava, which cools and solidifies into a dome. And then eventually, again, it erodes around it, and then you're left with that like stuff, which I think that's the coolest theory, personally.
So with all these shapes, it's like showing that maybe there was more lava than what we see, but like with erosion, wouldn't there be evidence around Devil's Tower that there was lava, like eroded little pieces or something?
All of these theories, other than the last one, say that the magma was never exposed to the surface, so it would have been contained, and the last one wouldn't have. It would have been filling a crater, so it also would have been contained.
So this is just the shape the lava made naturally.
Right.
And
yeah, it's not like an explosive volcano that we're used to.
And why is it eroding in these like
those patterns?
Yeah, the colonnade kind of shit.
Yeah, it's kind of like what's Giant's Causeway? That's kind of like the shape. It's based on the temperature and the type of mineral that's involved. I don't know the answer.
That guy who invented PCR is no longer alive. He died in 2019.
Gas and gutters.
Oh my God.
He is dead.
What a fucking plot twist. The fact that was the one thing you told us, that you promised us about him. He's not even true. You're just over here telling us people are alive who aren't.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
100.
Okay, well, I'm glad to know, I guess.
You're welcome. Also,
I don't
Kara,
know.
I love the Native American stories about how Devil's Tower was formed.
Tell me.
There are these two girls, and they were running away, and they needed a place. I can't remember what they were running from, but they were running, and they ran on top of this rock, and they were running from two giant bears, and they got on top of this rock to be safe. And it was so tall that the bears couldn't get it, but the striations are caused by the bears like scratching the side
cool.
of the tower to like get at the girls.
I love that.
Yeah. That's
Terrifying.
one of them. There's a bunch of them.
Though.
But
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I researched some Native American stories about earthquakes for my thesis, and I got into the biggest rabbit hole. It was like my favorite part of what I did for my thesis. I just researched it for like a week, probably.
Honestly, just as believable as geology. Here's what I want to say is
nice.
Here's what I'm just going to get into it early. All of geologies, if they can't explain anything, the answer is erosion. Like that's just their catch-all.
Correct.
They're like and basically like Devil's Tower, they're like, oh, erosion made this formation. Like
Grand Canyon.
No, they're saying erosion exposed the formation.
Ugh.
Yeah, because they have no other way of explaining it.
But then how is it formed?
I don't even understand why you're confused. I can't even argue.
You can't.
I just say anytime there's a weird formation, they're like, the other rock around it must have been weak, and so it eroded in this form,
That is not true.
Well, we're gonna see.
That's basically what I just heard you say.
That was the solution here.
We have 9 things that we're going to talk about. This was number 1.
And all 4 theories are like erosion.
All right, we'll see. We'll find out. I disagree wholeheartedly, for the record. Just so we're all clear.
No, I'm clear.
I have like such regrets coming. Like I came up with this topic and proposed it and scheduled it, and there is nothing I am like, this is my least comfortable zone in the whole. I hate geology. I hate everything about it, and something Kara and I argue about all the time, because it just all seems like, of all the sciences, it seems the most like woo woo to me. It's like it's just like, if you came across a crime scene from 1,000 years ago and you tried to explain what happened, you're like, oh, somebody pushed someone, so then they fell this way, and that's why everything's broken. Like, you would not be able to explain what happened. And oh my God, Kara's face. She's so pissed. I'm just saying, it feels like to me, they're like, oh, this thing that happened 150 million years ago. Let's give it our best.
We have like carbon dating, and we have like
I'm not saying like the timing isn't accurate by any means, but like when you explain it with like you're pushing and you're shoving and you're cracking and your erosion, it just sounds like you just kind of came up with like your own recipe that could not be the recipe. It could very well not be the recipe for how this thing was made.
That's
and
science.
You're just like coming up with a recipe.
That's
but
science.
It's harder. It feels like much harder to prove than other sciences.
This type of science
is
you
like,
can't repeat I feel
it.
Like
exactly. No. You can't repeat it, and therefore it seems more woo-woo to me than the other sciences.
I mean, but like astronomy is going to be similar, you know, like you're just looking. But I'm serious. You can't go out and test it. You can't recreate the situation. You're just like getting evidence. You're trying to prove a theory that you have, which is all science is. And then everybody has competing theories. See the thing that I just talked about.
I agree with astronomy. I'll go on a rant any day about how dark matter is just, I think I don't know if I have yet on this podcast. I'm sure I have, will now, and will in the future. But when they say dark matter, that's just them saying unknown element that makes the universe like go. That's what like space. It's everywhere, and we don't know what it is.
Yeah,
we're just gonna call it dark matter.
No, they don't.
Yeah, and it's also woo woo. Yeah, both of them. I'm just saying, using astronomy as your big like point here.
I'm just finding
has
another
no
category
ground
to
with
add,
me.
Because if I have another one, then you can't say that's the worst.
No, I can say I think geology is worse than astronomy.
What? Why?
Oh my God, I love this.
Because we can touch, feel, and test it.
Well, you can test it to a certain extent, but you can observe. I feel like a lot of astronomy is just about observation of things that are actually happening. Like we watch stars burn out or fade. Like we watch a lot of these things. There's a lot of
or like when things come back around. Like there are like some things that are one-time events, but also like to prove that something's there, like you have to see it more than once.
Yeah. Like those two stars that are together and they have like these weird orbits.
I mean, all right. So, Rachel, for example, I'm about to give you an example. So, we, as a group of people on the West Coast, know that there is something called the Cascadia. Oh, see, I'm going to get into my number 2 later. We're going to continue the argument in a little while.
Okay.
Because it will make you happy. I will support your theory with my number 2.
Okay, great. Mara, do you want to go with your number 3?
I can't.
I do.
Now.
we might be sharing a number 2, Kara.
Oh.
I found these things called Mima Mounds.
Oh, Mima Mounds. This is my number 1, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn.
That's okay.
You're welcome.
We'll just talk about it here.
They are.
I can't believe this is your number 3. This is crazy. Okay. How is this your number 3? I'm about to rip apart your ranking when we get to the other ones, but okay. Yeah, tell your little number 3 for Mima Mounds.
Thanks. They're like these mounds in Washington State, and they thought, like, when they first came upon them, when the white men first came upon them, they thought they were more Native American, like, burial grounds, kind of like the effigy mounds in Iowa. But when they dug into them, it was just loose stones. And there's also some of these mounds in, like, California and Colorado.
They're all over the world, actually.
Okay.
They're found... So they're found on every continent except Antarctica. That's crazy.
Wild.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, they're all over the world.
Where are they the most at? Where are they the highest density? What is their...
I don't know about the highest density. I can look that up while you continue.
I don't really have much to say. They...
Oh my God.
Marion's about to rip you apart.
You are butchering this subject, which is crazy.
I know. That's why I laughed at the beginning when you said it was your number 1. I was like, you're going to hate what's about to happen. They think some of the theories involve
wait.
glacial flooding, whirlpools.
Stop.
Even wind blowing sediments.
If you get into it, I'm going to talk about a certain theory because I just...
Well, the leading theory...
No, stop.
Is that pocket gophers created the mounds. But no one's ever seen a pocket gopher building one. So there's doubts.
Do we even have pocket gophers in Washington?
Yes, yeah. So you have pocket gophers. Okay, so okay, here. I'm just gonna
take over, Marion.
So Mima mounds found all over the world, but there are a lot in the west of America. And so I was wondering, Kara, if you've been to these. I think you should get like a -.5 point for not knowing these were around, and you're a geology person and you live in Washington and you live in the West. Personally, I just think you should get an automatic.
Nobody goes to Olympia. This is like the armpit of Washington.
Mara,
so.
what do we think? Because this seems like something.
What? I'm supposed to know everything about a state I didn't grow up in?
You lived there for years and you were a geology major, and you didn't even find it when you were looking up geological mysteries? Because I
knew what I was looking up.
Kara already had her ideas. She's not the one that had to type into Google geological mysteries of the world.
Okay, well, fine, but whatever.
No.
Okay.
I am excited.
Okay, so they are
helpful.
up to 8 feet tall and 30 feet across. So these things they're big. Yes, thank you. Yeah, this is Mara's completely glazed over this. And they in Washington, they cover several hundred acres, like these pockets. It looks like dimpled, like if you look them up, they look like speckled, like almost like pimply, like range of hills of land. And yeah, so they're a mix of gravel and dirt. There is dirt in them. They're not just piles of rock. So yeah, for a long time they thought, of course, the geological mystery cop out that erosion must have somehow just naturally created these mysterious mounds.
It was glaciers, right? It wasn't erosion. It was glacier activity.
Glaciers eroding the fucking land.
No, there were, I think, a natural erosion. I literally wrote down natural erosion. Like that's literally one of the of the catch-all theories that they had for the natural erosion somehow created these perfectly formed, like beautiful mounds. So yeah, in the 60s, basically someone was like, what about pocket gophers? Like these bad boys.
Of course, it was the 60s.
Pocket gophers, for reference, are the size of your hand. Okay, they're very small.
That's so small.
And we know that these mounds, this is the crazy part about the series. Well, one of the craziest parts of the series. These mounds would have taken about 500 to 700 years to form. That's what they found out. So we're talking about countless generations of pocket gophers that were digging upward. This is the confusing part. They're not like, like most like digging rodents, they're going to put their hands and like kick back the dirt, So these guys digging upward, pushing rocks, gravel and dirt upward for 500 to 700 years. Okay. And apparently, so this was so that they would have been able to stay high and dry above wet ground. So they're basically creating their own dry mounds that they can then live in.
Hollow mounds.
Yeah. Well, I mean, gophers dig through dirt, so it'd be like tunnels, but they haven't found like holes or tunnels in these mounds. And
they eroded away.
Yeah. Or they got filled by dirt. Who knows? Who knows what crazy thing these geologists have come up with to explain the pocket gophers. So the size of each mature mima, which is a real phrase that they use.
Mature mima? God!
roughly matches the territorial range of a single gopher. So basically, for 700 years, gophers were making these mounds so that one of them, could be king of the castle at the end of the day. And that's their little roost. And no one's seen, as Mara said, no one's seen pocket gophers ever make these mounds. So this is great. Everyone has accepted. This is why geologists are woo-woo. Everyone's like, yeah, this is the best theory we've got. And we are accepting that pocket gophers, like, this is probably what happened. Even though no one has ever seen a pocket gopher, like, even begin to make one of these mounds or try and make one of these mounds. Yes, Kara, you're what?
My favorite activity is raising my hand in this podcast and being yelled at. Are you sure that this was an accepted theory, or was just this the prevailing? Because when a scientist puts forward something and then everybody else is like, yeah, okay, there's still like a third of the group that's like, fuck you, that's crazy.
Kara, no, it's the current leading theory is pocket gophers.
Yeah, everyone's like done and dusted.
So semi-accepted.
Everyone's like done and dusted. Mystery solved. Don't really need to go into this further.
Washington DNR disagrees with you, for the record. But okay. More than 30 explanations have been proposed. Just
okay. Well, anyway.
Everybody needs a group project at some point.
So here's the thing. Because these mysterious hills are found on every continent except Antarctica, that's far from the range of pocket gophers. Surprise. Yeah. Pocket gophers aren't on every continent in the world. So this is how they explain that. And they twist this into evidence. They say, this suggests other burrowing mammals have evolved the same type of adaptive behavior on other continents. So there's other mystery burrowing animals that we have no proof of making these mima mounds that are all kind of the same all over the world.
Mockery.
And the reason this was my number one is because it's the one that seems like the most complete still mystery. Like there really isn't a good explanation for it. And the fact that geologists have decided that gopher mounds is like the leading, like it's truly like even their best solution is such a complete like ideological stretch full of literal holes. Just doesn't.
I want this to be like the thing that they give to the public, but behind closed doors and their little secret societal cult of geologists. They're talking. Sorry, they know the real answer. They're just unwilling to share it.
They don't think we can handle
World can't handle it.
I know that Marion, are you done with your theory?
Yeah, we can move on because
I have a theory.
I
like the idea of that it was created by earthquakes. So I actually, when I saw the picture, I thought this. So this thing that I'm reading from WNR says that they might have formed when earthquakes generate vibrational shock waves that travel through the soil. And in this hypothesis, the soil would move the most where the peak waves intersect with each other. And then they collect as mounds where the waves cancel each other out. I like that theory. I think that's reasonable.
Since this hypothesis has been proposed, this is right at the top of Google, there have been many large earthquakes throughout the world, and none of them have been reported to have formed Mima mounds. There's never been any evidence of a Mima mound formed by this amazing theory that you just proposed.
Are they all in earthquake active zones?
I don't know.
Okay.
No
but
idea.
At the same time, still, not one Mima mound has been formed.
Well, but we'd only started tracking earthquakes regularly in like the 1800s. So I don't feel like that's necessarily a solid.
That's hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yeah, but you have to have a really specific set of conditions, I would assume. Like undeveloped, it has to have like the right kind of soil, the right kind of rock, like close enough to the epicenter, you know?
Gotta get the young peak waves intersecting. Peak wave.
I'm looking for a map.
I think
if
Mima mounds were created so like easily by earthquakes and freaking pocket gophers, we would have seen new ones. Like, why aren't we watching these things be made then? Because these are things that still exist.
I don't know. This is the first time I'm hearing of Mima mounds. Also, I love the name.
Mima?
Mima.
It's Mima. I looked it up so that way I wouldn't fuck it up. It's not Mima.
Well, I wrote it
so
down.
You could correct us.
So, oh my God. This episode is going to be so hard for me to get through.
This can be my fucking number 3. Fuck the great unconformity. I mean, I assume you know about. You don't know about great unconformity? Okay, so it's a huge gap in the geological, and they say geological record. Okay, so layers of rock dating from about 1.2 billion years ago.
I read about this. I know. Yes. Sorry to interrupt them. I'm just so proud. I do know what this is.
Great, explain
the missing
it.
rocks. It's there's this like huge chunk of time that's just, there's like a million years. There's like a complete layer and chunk of time missing.
It's not a million years. I'll say that right now.
It's 500,000.
No. Do you want to make another guess?
1 billion.
It is 1 billion, Kara. Good job. So
that's so many.
It is layers of rock from 1.2 billion years ago to 250 million years ago, completely missing from certain areas around the globe. Don't have them.
Erosion.
But where the fuck did it go? No.
So we have the Cambrian period that happened 540 million years ago, but the layer beneath it is basement rock, whatever the fuck that means. Don't know. Formed roughly 1 billion years ago, and it's completely empty of fossils. So there's just like this huge gap. Like it's the great unconformity is like seen in the Grand Canyon, like it's seen like all over, and they like don't know where all this rock went. Can't explain it. Just was magically sucked out of the earth by the dino aliens when they left, I guess.
I was gonna reference aliens.
Yeah, actually, probably the dino alien. You know what? I've come up with a really good, like, kind of pocket gopher geological theory that I think will be accepted by the community, and it's that the dino aliens must have used all that rock for their like technology and their ships, and that's why we can't find it.
That's why it's no longer here.
Yeah.
We're going to find it in 100,000 years.
Mystery solved. Don't need to go through the dumb ass theories.
I want to know.
So the most popular theory is, this is the only one I wrote about, snowball Earth, they call it. And they say it may explain where the rock disappeared to around 700 million years ago. So not quite the 1.2 billion that we're looking for. Just like 500 million casual years missing. Yes, Kara.
I don't like that we're calling it missing rock because you're assuming it was there in the first place, which means that you have to have evidence that there was rock there at some point. I don't like it.
Well, then how is there a billion years? You think there was no rock created for a billion years? What we're trying to explain is why
there's a gap in the carbon dating between two different types of rocks. That's what we're trying to explain. I don't like that they're simplifying this bullshit to say like missing rock. We don't know it was there.
It doesn't.
Been a glacier.
You just think that zero amount of rock. There was no. Oh my God! I'm so.
You think that there was a billion-year-old glacier on various parts of the world that just created no rock?
Well, that answers part of my question. So, in other parts of the world, is there rock during that time period? That missing gap. Does rock of that time
I
period
believe
exist
so,
anywhere on
because
Earth?
it says completely missing from certain areas, but it sounds like there must be some. So that's why it's called the Great Unconformity, because they know there was some rock, but then there's like all this rock that they can't
I think
find.
my theory is not bad.
That it eroded?
No, that there might have been something preventing rock from reaching that place. Like a glacier might have been during that time or something. Or it was above sea level and we only had, I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't like that we're talking about missing rock. We're just assuming that it's missing.
Yeah.
We're making a big jump there, logically.
I mean, I think because they know that it does exist in some places, they're wondering where and how. So, okay, this is your theory then, which they have, which is the leading theory. Snowball Earth. So around 700 million years ago, Earth was encased in snow and ice. So there's still 500 million years where they can't like understand based on the weather why there would be these huge glaciers preventing rock from forming. But 700 million years ago, Earth was encased in snow and ice. Moving glaciers peeled off the planet's crust with the help of lubricating sediments, a lot of lube.
Nice.
And pushed it into oceans where it was, subducted by the tectonic plates, the heat, all that hot stuff.
And now it's the same lube that's coming out of the Washington Wuzu plate.
All of geology is lube and erosion.
Interesting.
But yeah, so there's basically this like completely unanswered like multi-million year gap, like, and the start of the Cambrian period where like there's no accounting for why the rock would be like snowball Earth cannot explain that, like, because there just wouldn't have been that like amount of ice and cold.
And we say that because why?
I think temperature, like knowing like just like how like in the Jurassic the temperature of the Earth and things. That's the end of it. It's just a great unconformity. Seems like a big load. A BS.
I feel like it's interesting. I am going to look it up more and I will come back for an update in a next thing. But I also feel like the way that they've written about it makes a lot of assumptions.
Yeah.
And I would need to back up those
this is why
assumptions with evidence.
An honorable mention that I wasn't really gonna go
That's
into.
fair. Yeah. Okay, so my second one is about predicting earthquakes. So
that's
basically
my number 2 as well.
Up, no way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mara's really
how and why earthquakes happen.
Why don't you go first?
No.
We'll do a similar situation to what just happened.
That was embarrassing. Oh, where I talk and then you completely come in and wreck my shit or what?
Exactly. But I probably have like something you don't, so I can add to what you say.
All right. Basically, we have no idea how and what causes earthquakes. And for a time, scientists thought they had it, but they were like, they predicted this earthquake.
Got her hand up.
No. Parkfield, California to happen by 1994, but they were off. And it actually happened in 2004. They don't understand why they start or stop.
Wait, because I felt like earthquakes were one of the more solid geological things because tectonic plates do the rubby, dancy wancy, little friction, little heat under the ocean or land, and one goes up, one goes down, blah blah blah, whatever, geology jerk off. And then when there's a collision, boom boom, waves of motion.
You're not
California
making an argument.
fault
You're
line.
just reducing my
like, I don't understand, how is this a mystery? Like, what?
Well, just because you know how an earthquake functions doesn't mean that you can predict it.
Oh, so the question is not how they're made?
Correct. It's about how you predict them. That
and
we
like
cannot
when they're
predict
gonna
earthquakes.
Yeah. Oh, I thought Mara started this off.
Yeah, I did. I said how and why earthquakes happen. Yeah, no, you're not wrong. I did say that.
Okay, so they know the why.
Do we have the same number 2 though about predicting?
Yep.
Okay.
So they know how and why, they just don't know when.
Yeah, basically. So I looked up
USGS. They know why?
Because of the
tectonic. I could tell you my whole thesis about why.
But they know
So there's different types of earthquakes. So there's different types of fault lines. There's ones that slide past each other, which is happening in California, Marion.
Yeah, but why do they slide past each other?
Because they're moving.
We don't.
Everything's in.
Why are they moving?
Because the plates are on top of the molten whatever bullshit, and they're going down, getting melted in, and they're reforming and they're getting cool, they're getting hot, they're getting cool, they're getting hot. On again, off again relationship with the core of the Earth, and so they keep moving around. That's why Pangea happened, and then everything split up. And
prove it.
I can't prove it.
Also, to my knowledge, we don't know what the center of the Earth looks like.
Correct.
The center, but we have all of those layers, and we know the core.
We don't know anything.
No,
about
we don't know the
actually.
core.
We know, but we have
we
have the molten layer or whatever, and on top of that, the plates sit, and that's how they move, right? This is basic.
Yeah. I mean, like, yes, correct. But the reason that they move, I believe, and I might be wrong in this, but I think that it's pressure from the other side of the plate. So, like Washington, for example, the western side of the Juan de Fuca plate is upwelling. What?
I just looked it up, and I'm right, and you're wrong.
What did I say wrong?
The heat from radioactive processes within the planet's interior causes the plates to move. So it's the heat.
I'm not saying that's wrong. You didn't even let me finish. I'm saying
you're saying that they bump into each other and then they keep endlessly.
You don't let me finish, my dude.
Bumping cars.
What happens is in the Pacific Ocean and in Iceland, for example, that's the only one that's like exposed to air that we can witness. But there's magma coming up that pushes the plate because it needs somewhere to go, and that plate is being pushed into the North American plate, which is slipping underneath the North American plate. So they're all connected, and all these different processes are affecting each of the tectonic plates.
They're moving on the hot lava. That's literally what I said. They're moving on the hot lava.
It's not like they're a dinner plate on water, though. They're like there's like magma pushing on one side,
pushing up, like pushing floating down.
Yeah. Anyway, so I looked up USGS to see how they figure out how to predict earthquakes, and they're so fucking sassy. Like, their webpage basically is like, if anybody tells you they can predict earthquakes, they're fucking wrong. Like, that's not accurate. Don't try. Don't trust them. They're frauds. It's very funny. They're like frauds? Really sassy.
Are they like creating a scheme to like get you out of your money as a fraud?
I think that there's lots of theories on how to predict earthquakes, and that I'm assuming that you can probably make money off of them. Like, there's this theory right now in China that you can predict them by looking at electrically charged particles in the ionosphere. You know, like there's different things that happen where people are looking at, you know, like animals. They looked for a long time to see if animals could predict earthquakes, that sort of thing. Currently, machine learning is like the newest thing that we're hoping that they'll notice. Like, machines can notice something that we as humans or animals can't notice. So there's all these different like theories out there. But what's really scary, what I found, and I didn't know this, which is terrifying because I live in Seattle, but so off the coast of Oregon, where the Juan de Fuca plate starts, there's hot liquid coming out of the seafloor, like in little jets, constant jets that always are spewing out this little liquid. And it's relatively, like, we just found it. And what they're saying is it's basically fluid that's being released from the fault zone, and it's like leaking lubricant, basically. And when you lose that lubricant, it's causing more friction and will cause like a bigger, more damaging quake. So they're seeing this now, and it's super scary.
Have they seen bigger, more damaging quakes?
Well, we are predicted to have somewhere between like an 8.5 and 9.5 earthquake off the Cascadia subduction zone, but it depends on how much locking there is, basically, like how stuck they get and how much pressure builds up. So they're thinking that because we're losing this lubricant, it's going to be extra locked and extra big, is kind of the idea. The scientist says, the mega thrust fault zone is like an air hockey table. If the fluid pressure is high, it's like the air is turned on, meaning there's less friction and the two plates can slip. If the fluid pressure is low and the two plates will lock, that's when stress builds up, and that's when the earthquake gets bigger.
And why can't they predict it? If they know it's pressure?
I mean, people have been trying for generations to figure out how to predict earthquakes, and we can't. I don't know how to. It's just this big old mystery. And we don't know we don't even know if it's possible. So we keep studying different stuff to see, like, got anything to add more?
No.
Okay. Did I do a good job?
Yeah, you did great. You did wonderful. This topic's really hard for me, apparently.
That's okay.
I apparently read the first bit of every article that I went into and was like, good enough.
Great, done. 2 sentences. Sum it up.
I'm really hoping you're number one, no one else research, so you can just go at it alone. Because so far it's been both of us on the other side.
I can't wait to find out.
I wonder if she has researched it alone, how much are we missing from the topic when we get to it?
Yeah.
Nothing. My number one I looked at the most.
Okay. Well, okay, so I'll do my number 2. Okay, so yeah, wait, before we go. So yeah, your number 2 does kind of go back to my original woo-woo bullshit geology thing.
In what respect?
I thought you said that. You said maybe we can get it to
No. It's oh yeah. Yeah.
Because they can't predict it.
Yeah.
Though honestly,
basically. They're not saying erosion is the cause, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, it's like a heat erosion in a way. Whatever. I'm just kidding.
You're reaching like those scientists.
Like the pocket gophers over here.
Yeah.
It's actually magma gophers, and they're sucking in the place. Yeah, they're digging down.
Spirit animals.
The earth is losing its lube. How do you think that?
That's literally what they're saying, right? Like,
yeah.
Oh God.
And it's going to cause a mega thrust. You use the words mega thrust, Kara.
I did.
I'm telling you, there is something about thinking of tectonic plates like as like in a relationship with one another is something there's something very sexual about geology. Yeah.
And they make sure all of us can feel the tension.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's like yeah, who do you ship? Which tectonic plates do you ship? That's the real question.
The Wuzu.
The what?
The one you just spent 10 minutes talking about.
The Cascadia subduction zone
No,
is the Wanda Fuca plate?
Wanda
And
Fuca.
the North American
The
plate.
Wuzu.
The Wuzu.
As the true fans like to call it. The Wuzu plate.
The Wanda Fuca.
Wanda Fuca.
Basically, okay, so my number 2 is the Blue Eye of the Sahara, or the Rishat structure in
Okay, good. I'm glad you did that.
Mauritania. Yeah, so this is the whole reason I came up with this
cool
topic. It's because I was looking at it during conspiracy theories, because there's a conspiracy theory related to it. So this is in Western Sahara, like on the west side of Africa, and it's about 25 miles in diameter. And it can be seen from space. So astronauts use it all the time to like figure out where they are, because things like the Great Wall can't actually be seen from space, but the Eye of the Sahara can. And originally they thought it might have been a meteoric impact, but there's no like recess in the center of it. But there are these like concentric circles that go out, and they're like perfectly equidistant from the center. So then they were like, well, maybe it's a huge volcano, but there's no volcanic rock. So like, probably not. And now they think, kind of like most go-to freaking things, kind of like Devil's Tower, they think it was a molten dome that was uplifted and shaped by like wind and water. But that is still a mystery why the rings are equidistant and nearly perfect circle.
Yeah.
People have connected the Eye of the Sahara with the missing city of Atlantis. So, which is wild, but there's a group of people who theorized for a while that this might be the thing. I mean, it's like, you know, it's one of those things you want to believe. Like, it was on my list of like conspiracy theories I very much want to believe.
On my long one.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Basically, Plato, right, wrote about a fictional island that rivaled the naval power of ancient Athens. And, you know, it gets submerged in the Atlantic, and it was powerful and advanced. And they think it was around like 10,000 BC, basically, is when it sank in. And the ancient Greeks were divided about whether Plato's story was history or mere metaphor. And some people were like, yo, Plato plagiarizes just a ton from the Egyptians, and we think the Egyptians think that Atlantis was real. So like there were a bunch of ancient Greeks that were like, this is an Egyptian thing. There have been thousands of artifacts found in and around the structure, which are about 12,000 years or older. So kind of puts them, not really, it's like still like a 3,000 year difference, but kind of puts them in the time frame of Atlantis. And it's like arrowheads, spears, stone spheres, surfboards,
Oh, cool.
hang loose, and ship holes and more. So like suggesting that there was water like very close to this
Well, I think the Sahara
land.
used to be underwater, didn't it?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah. So you think these things were sunk down there?
Oh, I'm just saying that there's evidence to support that water was there.
Okay. So they theorized that there might have been like temperate jungle conditions and like the water was much closer because like, yeah, part of the Africa was underwater. So they think like probably it was very close to the coast and like it was a great place to live and people like were there. But like a lot of people think, oh, this was just a place where like hunter gatherers went and it's not like a real place. But I'm like, why are people surfing over here? What is this? Also, did you know surfboards are 12,000 years old? That's crazy. Maybe even older. I don't know. So
could it be the bottom of a boat? Why do we know it's a surfboard?
What were the surfboards
they
made out of?
They say
back
surfboards
then?
and ship holes. I don't know. Gotta look it up.
This is just causing so many questions, this episode.
I agree.
So there are a lot of stretches because like supposedly there were the canals. Like people believe like, oh, what if it was a natural structure and not like something like Plato said it was man-made? But then like there was supposed to be like a tunnel into the rings that like supposedly, you know, were there, but like they don't exist. So of course that's like one of the reasons people are like, there's no way this was real. But yeah, I mean, he talks about the colors, which like match. So it's all very like kind of odd. And we think that Atlantis was outside the Pillars of Hercules, which is the Strait of Gibraltar. So that would also match up. So it's like kind of, it's a little like far. It's kind of south.
Do you think that he could have been told a story because there's like trade happening at the time? Like maybe he had heard the story from the traveler?
I mean, like, I think that the idea that the Egyptians maybe have a story about that area makes a lot of sense. That was passed down for thousands of years of like this, of a place like that maybe got bastardized or Plato bastardized it. But, I mean, I think it probably wasn't that, but it is pretty cool because it's like the closest thing. Like it's the closest thing we've ever had to like something that's kind of like Atlantis. It's still a geological mystery because like they don't know really how it was formed. And one thing that I could not figure out, and I tried really hard, is like what makes, because it is pretty blue, and I'm like, why is it blue? And that was a mystery for me that made this my number 2 double mystery, because I was like, I could not find online someone just explaining to me like what mineral or what was causing it to be blue. Could not figure it out. I was kind of hoping you knew.
No.
Okay, should we go on to our sponsors?
Sponsors.
Our number 3 sponsor this week is Grayson. Thank you for editing a 2-hour episode. You're a champ, and making it listenable. Our second sponsor could be you. It is. I'm going to say it is you, listener. Please like us or review us on iTunes, especially if you have an iPhone. I don't, so I can't make 10 accounts and like us over and over again, but you could, and that would be amazing.
Oh, man.
Please tweet about us or put us on Instagram, subscribe, follow, tell someone about it. Do one, think every day about how you can pay it forward to this podcast specifically by doing one more social
We know there's a lot
thing
going on in the world. This is such a simple act that you can do to feel better about yourself.
Yeah, and to make us feel good. And let us know when you do it, and we will thank you. Nobody has told us they've done it. I thought people would be more interested in being our number 2 sponsor. But
yeah.
you know. And our number 1 sponsor, does anyone have anything?
Look at those rocks. Those are some pretty neat rocks. Anybody know that YouTube video?
Number 1 sponsor is who wrote the guy who wrote A Short History of Nearly Everything.
Bill Bryson.
Bill Bryson out here making complicated shit easy to digest with graphics and explanations and stories. And if you are interested in geology, you should read it. It's freaking fascinating. Thank you, Marion, for giving it to me. And then 10 years later, I read it.
Classic. Okay. Kara Amara, what's your number 1?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
Okay, so my number 1 geological mystery is the Mid-Continent Rift System. So this is a structure that is 1.1 billion years old. It's about 1,800 miles long, and it's a scar across North America through have a map up. It's through Michigan up to Lake Superior, through Minnesota, through Iowa, and then down through like Nebraska. And it's kind of like a U shape. And the idea is that it used to be a rift system. So kind of like if you've heard of the East African rift in like Tanzania, Kenya area. Have you heard of this?
I barely know what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn,
I have no clue.
So kind of how I was talking about how like two tectonic plates are like pushing into each other and one's slipping underneath. This is the opposite. So it's two continental rifts, like, or continental tectonic plates pulling apart.
And so there's like like in Iceland, how they have that thing you can scuba dive down?
No, because that's forming new rock. This is like forming a new ocean essentially, or like a new
okay.
Like if you've see,
is that what the San Andreas fault line is? Ripping apart?
No, that one is two plates like doing this. They're like passing each other in the night.
Oh.
Have you watched the Spooky Lakes lady?
Yes.
On TikTok?
Yeah, Geo.
Okay, have you seen how she talks about the deepest lake by Call?
Yeah.
Okay, that is an example of this. So it's like pulling apart and it's filling with fresh water, which is why it's the deepest. It's deeper than the San Andreas, or than Lake Mariana, or
the Mariana Trench.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy. Only when you take the sediment out of it. Anyway, so basically so rift systems are two existing plates that are pulling apart and like leaving gaps essentially, and usually it fills with water because that makes sense. And so there used to be one in North America, and it started tearing the continent apart through what is now Lake Superior, but for some reason it didn't continue, it just stopped. And it's the basis for our like Great Lakes system. And
can I say a theory?
That's why after
you finish, that's why we what?
That's why we have like copper and like certain types of stone and stuff, is because of that type of system.
Okay. I think maybe it was like breaking apart, and then like the other sides hit other plates and they were like, oop, and then they couldn't move.
That's very Midwestern. Oh, sorry. Oh my God. I'll just stay here.
And now it's just got like that rift of the lakes, and it's like, but it can't move anywhere. So it's just chilling.
So is that scar connected to the plate in Washington that's pushing up against the other plate?
So it's on the North American plate, and the North American plate is what is connecting, or what is touching the Juan de Fuca.
So yeah, it's like that side's going on, so they can't keep pulling.
It's all everything is pressure related. That's why like the Himalayas are going up, is because two are pushing together. Like everything is connected.
So then when the West Coast earthquake happens, is there going to be a new rift, a larger scar in the Midwest?
No. So what will happen is the Juan de Fuca. So basically, visuals are very helpful in this. It's hard in a podcast, but the North American plate, when there's friction, is being pushed upwards slowly. So it's creating like a mound, think of. And the Juan de Fuca plate is trying to slip underneath the North American plate. And so when that pressure builds up enough, the North American plate slips and it like
releases
flattens.
And it flattens.
Yeah, it releases.
So
that
the West Coast is going
to
just like slip into the ocean.
It basically like you'll drop between like 1 to 10 feet, probably, depending on like how severe the earthquake is. But yeah, like the whole West Coast of Washington and Oregon is going to drop in elevation. And it's happened before. This is the cool part. Is like we can prove that it happened before because there's petrified forests from when that happened. So when the forest was on the edge of the ocean and then that happened and it snapped and dropped in elevation, those trees were then exposed to salt water and then like mummified more or less, so we can test them. It's very cool. They're in Washington.
Wow. Let's continue on.
Yeah. My number one is Lake Baikal.
Hell yeah!
And I had written that it's a rift lake, and it was formed with a deep rift by tectonic plate movement. So when you said fault lines,
when you said to Kara, I don't know what a rift is.
That's why I started laughing, because then she mentioned Lake Baikal, so I looked at my notes and I was like, well, sure enough. Oh my God. I wasn't going to say that part of my notes, but now it's relevant, huh? I just, like, it's the oldest lake in the world, and it's like, they think it's about 25 million years old, and it's like huge freshwater lake. Apparently, Genghis Khan was said to have been born on the island within the lake.
Cool.
It completely freezes over in the winter. And more recently, they're having like these bubbles being like gas bubbles being frozen in the lakes. And they think that it's because there's like being more methane produced from the bottom, I'm pretty sure. And then the ice is like kind of melting. And then so the gas is moving slowly up it and then like freezing.
Oh, that's cool.
They're the only place that a freshwater seal is found, and there's no current connection between Lake Baikal and any sea. They think that maybe at some point there was a connection from the closest sea to Lake Baikal, and then the seals were coming there for some sort of migratory reason and then just decided to stay, and then they got locked off, and they're like nowhere near endangered, which is so cool.
Oh, that is cool. So what's the mystery?
How'd those seals get there? I mean, they also
Geological
have
mystery?
Kind of. Oh, no, all my mysteries are about fishes. Because they also kind of have like a Nessie situation where they like think a giant
something is in there.
Wow. I just looked up mysteries that surrounded Lake Baikal.
Oh, that's like a whole, I mean, literally just go onto that lady's TikTok and it's like all Lake Baikal mystery. It's fascinating.
Wow.
It's a cool place.
I did learn from her the other day that it's the deepest lake in the world by far. Like, okay, so
it's insane.
Lake Superior is the second deepest, and it's like, I don't know, 2 to 3 times deep. Lake Baikal is 2 to 3 times deeper than Lake Superior. When you take out the sediment that's deposited in the bottom of Lake Baikal, again, it's deeper than the Mariana Trench, which is just like...
Yeah, but the sediment, that feels like cheating because you're taking the sediment out.
Yeah. But that just proves...
It's like, couldn't you take the sediment out at the bottom of the Marianas Trench and then
it'd
be deeper?
To the magma? Yeah, that's fair. But it's like, it's been deposited there from different rivers. So it's like, it would have been deeper had that sediment not come from the rivers. I just think it's cool.
Okay, my number one is the Sailing Stones of Racetrack Playa. It's in Death Valley.
I've seen them.
Yeah, I figured.
I've been there.
You've been there.
Done that. They're so cool.
Yeah. So people have been studying these bad boys for over 100 years. And basically, they're these rocks that tumble down, quote, due to the forces of erosion, unquote. Which of course they do. But I actually believe that one. So there are these like rocks, they're pretty substantial. They're like as big as your gourd or your head or whatever. And
like a pumpkin?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Once they reach the surface level of the playa, which is just this, big desert valley, basically, the rocks somehow move horizontally, leaving perfect tracks behind them to record their path. So when you look out, you can see these rocks, and behind them, kind of like a snail or slug trail, you can see where they were and where they went. Most of the largest rocks have left behind trails as long as 1,500 feet, suggesting that they've moved a long way from their original location, like 1,500 feet from one place to another. I don't know. I wonder how many miles an hour they're going. Probably like 1 a year or something. Well, no, not, because 1,500 isn't a mile. Anyway, rocks with a rough bottom surface leave straight tracks, and smooth ones tend to wander.
What?
Yeah, so the rough ones just
like
straight shot, and smooth ones, different personality. Probably similar to like rough-brained people and smooth-brained people.
Wow.
Just kidding. Now, the reason why this was my number 2 is because the mystery has been solved, and I actually do believe this one. So basically, this is weird because scientists, this is why geologists suck. People have been observing these rocks for 100 years, being like, how do them rocks move? And then finally, 2 guys in 2014 were like, you know what we should do? We should just sit down for a couple years every day, and we're just going to watch these rocks. And like, that's what we're doing. And so they watched them.
That's the obvious answer.
Yeah, they watched it, which I thought, if you've been wondering for 100 years how these rocks be moving, maybe you would have done that. But no, these guys, first one. And I think in like the first year or two, they finally observed it. And basically in the winter, when like conditions are just right, rocks are nudged into motion by melting panels of thin floating ice. and you have to have these like very light winds in winter so that it's like slowly moving the rocks. And they caught it on video. You know, basically everything needed to be perfect with the temperatures and the weather to create this motion.
So cool.
Yeah. So not as exciting, you know, as it wasn't magical. Or sometimes people thought, I think it was like part of gravitational force or something, or like magnets, but yeah, like magnetic
and I
force.
think before the ice, they thought that the occasional like rain moved them.
Yeah. So very, very interesting. But I like that, you know, this is why the whole meme amounts thing is crazy, because you can, like, they were able to see it happen. They're actually able to replicate, well, not themselves replicate the movement, but record the movement and figure it out after 100 years. Cool. Only took 100 years for that one. Geniuses. Okay, anyway, that's my hour of bashing geologists.
Nice.
That was a good one. Mara, I'm going to take a point away from you because the last one was not a mystery. And I'm going to take a half a point from Marion because it's not a current mystery, that last one.
What?
Nice.
It's a half
I think it counts. You gave a very direct answer that you said yourself you believe in.
Maybe a minus point to Mara for each of her 3 things being mentioned by someone else.
Someone else directly before.
And also so like her version not having anything, like would have been fully covered by the other person.
Listen, I would just like to leave myself out of the points for this round, and you guys should just
you guys duke it out
between you two, because this is clearly not where I shine. This topic. I think I find this stuff really difficult to focus on because there's so many words that I'm not familiar with, and then I instantly forget it.
I will say that geology, I think, is one of the worst sciences for explaining to the general public. Like the way that we explain to people, it's not like flooding, right, or something like that, like, or a pandemic where you have to get the knowledge out and you have to simplify it. Nobody fucking cares about geology, so you don't have to simplify it for the general public.
A point to me for making Marion angry at the beginning of the podcast for having her number 1 just be my number 3 throwaway situation.
No, you don't get a point for that. You didn't even do it.
Sure.
If anything, I should get the point for actually end up doing the meme
for explaining it.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it's a tie between the two of you, so I think we could end this episode.
Tiebreaker.
Are we tied?
I don't know.
Why not? Tiebreakers are fun, at least.
All right, it has to be geology related, so I think I can't be the one to come up. It has to be Mara.
Oh, God.
Or Grayson.
This is so boring. What is the least common type of rock?
What are we talking about? Minerals? Are we talking about like formations?
That is...
I'm going to go with formations.
All I can give you.
I don't know what the question is.
I've got my answer. Wait, no, don't explain. Just put an answer down. What's the least common type of rock? Geology.
Mara has to type it in too. What is the least common type of rock?
Not typing this. I'll say it.
Okay.
What? No, hang on.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay, well, then finish typing, Mara or Kara, because I got my answer.
This is not fair. This is such bullshit.
This is geology, baby.
I think you'll be fine. Look at those rocks. Some pretty neat rocks.
I'm glad you did that twice in this.
That's all I can think about now. It's a good YouTube video.
Kara, are you done?
I'll send it later.
No, 1 second. I'm trying to remember the... I don't like this. I don't like the question. If I lose, it wasn't on me.
Okay, yeah, just
I should have won automatically.
Okay.
3, 2, now.
Ah!
Oh my God,
I typed in Sun Rock from Mexico, and then I thought, that's bullshit. I gave 2 answers. So I deleted my Sun Rock from Mexico, but I did put igneous as well.
It's metamorphic.
Is the least common?
Yeah.
Isn't that the
Yeah, I
same
guess that makes
thing?
sense. No, it's formed under pressure.
No.
See, you don't even know. Sedimentary is done by erosion. Igneous is from magma, and metamorphic is from pressure.
God, geology sucks.
Are we just calling this one a tie, or do we need to come up
No,
with more questions?
I'm winning this.
Okay.
I am winning this one.
What is the most expensive rock to purchase?
I'm ready when you are.
Okay,
I'm gonna win this one.
Go.
Kara said diamond. Quartz doesn't count. You just need to record. No idea what that means.
I just needed to record that I also thought of that answer,
Okay.
but it wouldn't have counted.
Marion said blood diamonds because it's not money, it's human lives.
It's not just money, it's human lives.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, the answer is blue diamond, so I don't know how to handle this.
Blood diamond and blue diamond. That is so close.
They're different.
I said, okay, that is extremely
you
close.
went too specific. I was smart and went broad.
Mine counts.
Oh my God.
No, they're
Oh my
different.
God. I'm in my
A
own
blood
personal
diamond,
hell.
for the record,
I
a
got
blood
this.
diamond.
Mm-hmm. They're mined in conflict areas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blood diamonds are red.
No.
the
A
gem
blood
itself is
diamond,
red.
Kara. A blood diamond is a diamond that's sourced irresponsibly and like causes
I know.
issues. So I'm not talking about red diamond. I'm talking about blood diamonds, like what
Okay,
people
well,
wear.
blue diamond. When are you gonna give up? I won.
That one is not. We both said diamond, and
I
mine,
agree, but you went too specific.
And mine agrees. No, I didn't go specific.
I think I might have said ruby had I been answering this question. I don't know if I would have said diamond. All right, next question.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god. Yeah, I see your point, Marion. Fine.
Thank you. I think we both neither of us
that
said
was
blue
equal.
diamond. Though I do think blood diamond sounds
I do want to see
closer.
what a blue diamond looks like.
It's
though.
blue. Spoiler.
It looks just like that's.
It's
sorry.
the
Why
same
is that
crystalline
expensive?
structure because of the way and the color it makes, and it's really rare.
It looks like a sapphire. Anyway,
Like it's got different properties.
oh, it's harder. Yeah.
Let's do this one. Grayson asks, can either of you name the mineral that releases radon?
Okay, I have a guess.
Mari, you should start just queuing up another question, I guess.
Yeah, honestly.
Never thought that I had enough knowledge to maybe actually hold my
What?
ground, however wrong in this.
All right, I have an answer written.
This is how bullshit geology is. I could just bullshit my way through these and get similar answers to Kara. Ready? 3, 2,
2, 1, go.
The fuck is feldspar?
I said uranium because Grayson said uranium.
Oh, that was smart.
I mean, weirdly,
If you won, I'll give it to
it's
you.
called torbernite.
Jesus Christ. I'll kill
Wait, it says
somebody.
radon is a decay product of uranium when I look it up.
Yeah, radon is caused by a lot of things.
But he said mineral, and uranium is a mineral. Is
Jesus
it?
Christ.
Okay,
It's found as a mineral, bonded with other elements. Wow, poor Kara. This is.
Yeah.
Wait, what about feldspar?
This is rough. This is rough.
Wait. Let's just see if does feldspar.
It's not feldspar. It's not feldspar.
Oh yikes!
Dude. So
Stop.
Marion won. Or...
No. What's the?
Okay.
We'll just do the next. We can cut that one out.
What? How many types of rocks are there? This one I feel like is a true guessing.
Oh, hey, wait. Feldspar contains trace amounts of radon gas.
What the fuck?
So we both got that right.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Trace amounts? No, this is bullshit. That
But
is
it releases
bullshit.
It
radon.
releases radon.
It doesn't say
That's
it
what the question
releases
is.
them.
Yeah,
Well-
if you open a rock and there's gas trapped inside, it's gonna go out.
Emanation of radon from rock. Yeah, it emanates.
For the record, when they say what rocks produce the most radon, they say uranium is going to produce the most radon. So
He didn't say which one produces the most radon. He said, "Can you name one that releases radon?"
That's true.
okay.
So
God, I can't believe this.
What
right.
is this question?
I am really excited right now.
Wait,
Though.
okay. Here's How much? You guys aren't going to know any of these. Never mind.
That's the point.
I was not prepared for this. Deadliest volcanic eruptions since 1500 AD.
Ooh, 80 is after Christ.
1500. I'm
More
trying.
rock.
That's such a specific time.
Must have
have to
happened
do it.
right after 1501.
Okay.
Oh my god, I have so many guesses. You can't
have
say
so
more
many-
than one. I just
No.
none
I
of your
have
little
one.
quartz bullshit.
I specifically said doesn't count, but I just needed to record that I said it.
Okay, well, just one thing here.
Is obsidian a rock?
I don't know if they would have recorded this.
Yes. What kind of question is that?
Somebody asked that on Google, dude.
Oh, God. I should win this. God damn it.
Are we ready?
Yeah, I've been
Yeah.
ready.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1, go.
Wait, Pompeii was before 1500 AD.
I couldn't remember. I thought it was right after Christ was. I thought it was like, I don't know.
No,
What is
they were still talking about this crazy guy from Jerusalem.
Can we get a second guess?
When Vesuvius went off?
Can we get a second guess? Because we both didn't get it, I'm assuming.
But for the record is what mine would be closer because there was a deadly volcanic eruption in Iceland in 1783. So that's only 283 years after
That is
1500.
Well, but how many people died? And then we compare the deaths, and then we
No,
talk about
Pompeii
which.
isn't close to 1500.
Pompeii was 3,400.
BC.
What? 3,400. What are you talking about?
No, you're saying
People. He's
340.
saying
We're talking about years? Oh,
Yeah, because you said after 1500. I at least named one that, well, one. Their most deadly one was after 1500.
It's true. I was looking more for the name of the volcano than just a
Oh
broad
my God.
region.
This has to be
Pompeii
after
was
the music.
79 AD, so that's
I
basically
have an
1500.
idea.
I knew that it was
I
like.
have an idea. Let's whoever's closest to guessing the number of people that died in the Mount St. Helens eruption.
Okay, I like that.
Oh, okay. I'm going to guess.
Okay. I have my guess. And I don't know the answer.
Oh yeah,
for the
Mara,
record.
win it.
I got my
Get it.
guess.
I would. No.
When was the Mount St. Helens eruption? Do I get any? What is this?
1981.
That was like 83, yeah. 1980.
It was pretty deadly.
This isn't really a geology question, but
He's trying to end it.
we're trying to end it. Well, I feel like I won this last one by a long shot with most deadly eruption after 1500. Definitely got close. Got something that was after 1500 and was Iceland's most deadly. So, but
You guys got
that's
your
fine.
guess in, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go. The answer is 57
Shit.
people died.
Wow.
I
Okay.
guessed 50. Mara guessed 79, and Marion guessed 236.
It would have been more, but that guy at the watchtower stayed until the very end and died himself, like calling people to get people out of the way of like the stuff.
That's sweet of him.
Yeah.
I originally put 100.
I was going to put 129.
I put 100. I deleted it. I put 75. I deleted it. I put 50.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Well, you know that I'm not the winner of this episode.
I am.
We can call Kara. We finally stopped at one where she got a better answer. So, I mean,
And we worked really hard as a team to make sure that Kara won this episode.
yes, we did.
So,
Congrats, Kara.
I feel like
Team
I'm-
effort.
yeah, done my duty over here.
It's like when you back a horse, you just gotta have him win.
You're like, we're going to
Just
do this
kidding,
until...
Kara. We're gonna do this until.
I mean, you clearly knew the most about rocks. So
The answer should be a number.
That's what I was trying to get at with how many types of rocks there were. Apparently between 4,500 and 5,000.
Wow, that's a lot.
But types of rock, but do we minerals? Like, that's just a very...
No, it's just types of rocks.
Oh, okay, cool.
Every minute we keep going is another minute I need to edit. All right, I'm Marian. This has been My Top Everything.
I'm Kara, your winner this week.
And I'm Mara.
Nice.
Keeping my identity protected because I can't have this associated with myself.
Email us at mytopeverythingpodcast@gmail.com if you want to interact with us, and have a good week. Bye.
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 Wow.
So the music should be before that chaotic mess of a tiebreaker.
The music?
It's so long.
I kind of think the tiebreaker might just be like a bonus content thing at some point. We can just skip all of it
to the point where I won.
I would like it mentioned that that's really not.
You held your own. You held your own.
Yeah.
And arguably,
and there were a
couple
where we can argue that it should have ended, but that's fine.
I agree.
I've got 2 notches